Hello, and welcome to The Valley. Today, I am your host, Janet Michael. It is The Valley Business Today with the SBA, and we are revisiting Clem's Kitchen at the Wayside Inn. Carl Knobloch is here with me. He, of course, is the Virginia District Director of the Small Business Administration. I hope by now everybody who's listening, which I'm pretty sure is a pretty broad net, has been to Clem's Kitchen, or at least heard Amanda and Billy talk about their hopes and their dreams before they opened this place just a few short months ago. But Carl, it's exciting to be back here again now that they're open to see what has happened in just a few short months.
Yeah, it's the first show we've ever done that we've actually come back to a guest to see how things are going. We'll see whether they're smiling or crying.
Well, okay, so Amanda's smiling. Bill doesn't smile. That's not part of his personality anyway. So I'm going to come to you, Amanda, because Clem's Kitchen is named after you. It was a peace offering for losing your Clem when you became a Whitson. So how has it been here at Clem's Kitchen? Has it been what you thought?
Definitely not what we thought, but it's been a lot of fun. There's been a lot of surprises. It's been a lot of work. I think we're both tired.
So we talked about that in the weeks before you opened during our last conversation, that you have, Bill in particular, had the food truck, has Billy Sue's food truck. So have a background in food service for the most part. You guys went into this knowing that it was going to be a lot of work. You did a lot of improvements to the interior of this space at the Wayside Inn. One of the things that you talked about was how you were very lucky that you were able to do this slowly so that you could get it right and bring things online in your own time. Has that worked to your advantage?
I feel like it has. I don't know.
For sure.
It's allowed us to, especially in this day and age in this business, you don't get the opportunity to make mistakes, and people be very forgiving of those mistakes. And so if someone has a bad experience, they're probably not coming back, and they're also probably going to put something on the internet that everyone's going to hear about and everybody's going to read. So it's given us the ability, I think, to try to get in front of that as much as possible, make sure that our team really knows what they're doing. I think one of the biggest surprises for us from our previous restaurant experience was that staffing is a lot different now than it was 10, 20 years ago.
Because you originated here at the Wayside Inn. That was part of your story from our last conversation too.
My first job out of high school was here for Leo Bernstein. I ran all the special events, and it's very different now than it was then.
But you're doing a ton of events here, which I think is very much needed in this area.
Yeah, for sure. And we're just coming off of January, right? So the events are kind of what kept us afloat. It's the thing that kind of keeps the engine running while we build the restaurant up. And we've got quite a bit of distance between when this building and the Wayside, from a culinary perspective, was firing on all cylinders. So we're trying to rebuild that engine very slowly. And we're lucky enough to have a lot of good clients that still come back to us and now are leveraging our space here. So instead of us catering offsite to them, they're coming here to have it here. Some advantages of that is we have a full bar here. So after an event's over, if it's a business event, for example, we can do a happy hour. So it's really been a good win for us. But if it wasn't for the events, we'd be struggling.
Was that something you built into the plan initially, or has that been a happy accident that you're kicking yourself for not thinking of originally?
No, we did a lot of catering just on the backs of the food truck. So when we started food truck and people were asking, do you cater? The answer is always yes. We figured it out. That's kind of the brand of what this company does.
We need to get you a t-shirt that just says, I'll figure it out.
We figured it out. That's our superpower. That's all of it. We're excellent at execution. We always find a way to execute. Preparation is where we can probably use some help. Because there's a lot of blind spots and things we just don't know that are coming until they're here. So we got really good at just getting that part done. So we had the catering business, again, from the back of the food truck, and that sort of brought us to this location to begin with. We needed a bigger kitchen. We were doing more catering things. So we just brought those clients with us here. We still have the infrastructure to support that job at the same time the restaurant's running. So now in this business, you got to kind of do 2-3 things at once in order to make any money. Food costs are up, labor's way up compared to what it used to be. If you want quality staff, you got to pay them a livable wage too. So we pay higher than minimum wage here, trying to keep people happy and make sure they can pay their bills. So the catering is what really gives us the opportunity to do that.
And Carl, that's universal in food service in general, is that you have so many other factors that depend on your success or that factor into your success or failure, that it is much harder to run a restaurant, a food truck, anything that involves food than it is, say, a manufacturing plant like we've talked about in the past.
Yeah, well, it was really fascinating. They identified the two big issues: social media, staffing. The two biggest issues that every one of them talks about, because one bad write-up, you have to counter the bad write-up, and you can't look like you're coming off too aggressive.
Take some finesse.
Yes, and a lot of people that are doing that in the weeds with the cooking and everything can't do that.
It's hard to not take it personal and immediately want to blast back, because I've been in those situations before.
Yeah, and the staffing, everybody, it doesn't matter if it's a restaurant or manufacturing, nobody can find workforce, and they're literally scraping. I mean, I watch what's coming through the door lots of times, and people are saying, I would never give this person a chance 7 years ago. But today I have to, because I just don't have the ability, which means extra costs because they have to do extra training, they have to do extra prep, everything else, just to see if they can get dependability out of it. And that's a big challenge right now.
The other thing that's different, I think, in today's workforce, and we talked about this at length before we started recording, is people are looking for different things in their jobs now. So we were talking about teamwork and team building and making people feel like they're part of the entire experience, whether they ever come out of the kitchen or their job is behind the bar. You do a really good job of that, or you make a really concerted effort to do that.
I'd like to say we got lucky, but I think a lot of that is the example that her and I set with how we work and what we do. I probably wash more dishes here than anybody else. I don't have to, but it allows the team to do their job, which is to prepare the food, to package it, to cook it, to make sure it's presented properly. I need them to be really good at that. We don't need anybody to be awesome at dishes. All of our utility players, some people call them bus kids, food runners, you can call them whatever, they'll help with dishes, they'll help with mopping, they'll help wait a table. Everybody needs to know how to do everything so that we don't have that hierarchy of better than or not than. Or here it's just
Or
the
this
guest.
isn't my job. That's part of, we were interviewing somebody yesterday, and that's the conversation that we're having with people is everybody does everything here. We're a team, and everyone's goal is to make sure our guests have the best experience possible. It takes the food coming out of the kitchen cooked properly and it being served and cleared from their table properly. It takes all of that. It takes a smiling face from everyone. We did parties at the end of this month that Jared, who's been with us for the longest, he was coming out of the kitchen to check to make sure the food was okay, and that was clearing tables. Like, it's everybody does everything.
Yeah. And it's a lot harder, particularly when you're talking about wait staff. It's a lot harder now to find people with a friendly personality. I know that's crazy to say, but we were here having dinner. Tim and I were here having dinner just a couple of weeks ago, and it cracked me up that when the waitress brought the food, I don't think she had taken our order. Somebody else brought the food, but they knew which dish went to who based on what Tim ordered and the fact that he was wearing camo. And they made a little joke about that, which I thought was amazing. That's what makes an experience for someone to make them want to come back again and again.
Yeah, so they dropped the food there because we have seat numbers. They knew it was seat 2. They had enough personality to engage with Tim and say, yeah, it's because you're wearing camo.
You're giving up the secrets, dude.
It's not a secret. It's all in the people. We were in an interview yesterday, and this young lady was asking, like, how do we act? Is this really prim and proper? It's like, just be yourself. So everyone that works here because they care about the food, the guests, the experience, everybody. From the people in the back of the house to the waiters, waitresses, bartenders. If the customer leaves happy, that's their prize, right? That's the attaboy. Everyone's here for a paycheck, but you can get a paycheck anywhere. That's the attaboy part. Like, there's a lot of pride in what we do, and the people that work here have tons of it.
And they also aren't just helping you in the restaurant, they're also helping you with these events. And sometimes they're even more work than maintaining a dining room.
Those poor boys had to lug, 100 chairs up 3 flights of stairs to set up for an event last week. So yes, they are definitely more work. There's a lot more heavy lifting that goes into them.
We are teaching the next generation the definition of what work is.
Right, which is also somewhat of a problem because this next generation and the generation that has just come before it are very much grounded in that's not my job. I work 9 to 5. I do what you ask me to do. I do nothing more. And at 5 o'clock, don't you dare ask me to stay for 2 extra minutes, because that's not what I do. So you're up against generational stuff as well when it comes to finding staff.
Yeah, and in the restaurant, there isn't a you're done at 5 p.m. You're done when the kitchen's clean, the food's put away, the floors have been swept.
Yeah, and I think a great point that you brought up, when somebody comes to the interview, they're immediately told, you have this role, doesn't matter what your title is. This is basically everything you're going to potentially be doing in here. Mm-hmm. And if you see a dirty table, you clean it.
Yeah, every member of our staff has been told, like, do not walk back and forth from the dining room to the kitchen without something in your hands both ways.
And that creates efficiency, and especially when you're short-staffed.
And this place is so big.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, to properly staff this, you'd go broke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you need to be fully booked.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that for a second, because from our first conversation, the plan was breakfast only, and then you were going to introduce dinner at some point within the few months of opening. It ended up only being a week. Yeah. And initially it was just going to be out front where the bar area is, but now it's this dining room. You have the event space. Paint a picture for someone who maybe hasn't been here before, what they can expect if they're coming for dinner, for example.
So we've got 2 spaces we serve from a restaurant side. There's a tavern side, and then we've got an attached dining room next to that. When you walk in for dinner, somebody's yelling at you, telling you, hi, have a seat wherever you like. Make yourself at home. That's the vibe we're going for here. Very comfortable, very just classic, good comfort, welcoming atmosphere. It's driven by what we see in other places. You want to be welcome when you walk into a place. You sit down, somebody will take your drink order, take your order, then you're greeted with some fresh baked biscuits.
I love those biscuits, by the way.
Everyone loves
yes.
them.
And you probably have an even bigger fan base now that they were the base for the sausage gravy contest a few weeks ago.
20 minutes.
400 biscuits gone in 28 minutes.
That is
It
insane.
took longer to bake them than they actually
Learning those biscuits was a process too. They weren't always perfect. We had to figure out a way to prep them and store them and when to fire them and how we made sure each guest had fresh ones and hot ones, and we've had some misses along the way. But biscuits aside, you're greeted with some fresh biscuits. We make a butter of the day, so some type of butter. We've done fall spice. This week's is rosemary. It could be anything, whatever Amanda's kind of feeling at the time or somebody on the team has an idea for, and some type of preserve. We've done everything from homemade apple butter that we used apples from Richard's Fruit Stand. We've done a pear butter. What's the Deb just made one yesterday.
There's a cherry lime.
Coconut. So something like that, just to welcome you and give you something to eat. When you look over the menu, you'll find most of the stuff we do is classic, country, kitschy, but with a twist. Amanda doesn't like to do anything by the book. We'll read the book and then go from there. You'll notice that when you get your food, it is prepared fresh. The cuts will be such that it didn't come out of a bag. One of the challenges we've had is sourcing raw product. It's very easy to source food. It's very hard to source raw product. So we take a lot of pride in making sure that the food we have in-house is made from scratch with love, from even cutting carrots. Like most people buy those frozen onions, same thing.
Yeah.
You get bags of onions, 10 pounds. Okay, but it's not the same thing. You can tell in the food.
So I want to talk for a second about one of my favorite things, because it is my show.
Rolls, aren't we?
Well, shockingly enough, we are not, although I talk about those egg rolls all the time, which I know that you know. And don't let Wendy or Dan from Paladin come in here and steal my egg rolls. I have not given them permission to take my stash. But when Tim and I had dinner here a few months ago, I don't remember, I think we got the roasted chicken, I think is what I had. And there was a potato that was a potato on the inside, like a baked potato, but like a tater tot on the outside. That was the most delicious thing ever. That's a really good example of what Bill was saying, in that you'll take something that looks traditional but has a twist to it.
That wasn't from my book, actually. That was a Bill creation.
Get out. Look at you.
I've
Extra
got
credit.
roast egg rolls, I've got those potatoes, and a bunch of sandwiches. That's my entire That's all of it. Everything else is all of it.
I talked to people about that potato for weeks afterwards.
Yeah.
Tim has tried to replicate it, and I just told him to stop, but we're just going to start coming here and getting them.
They're really cool. It was inspired by a trip we took before we opened to a place called Max Bingo in Wardensville. And they had a version of it. It was a whole lot bigger. It was on a grill. And her and I were spitballing and then just came up with a different way to do it.
So the menu changes monthly. Was that something that you intended to do all along as well? Or how has that evolved?
It wasn't to start with, but it was something that because we were going to slow roll into dinner and then we waited a week and then
Fast rolled into dinner.
Kind of, it's how it naturally occurred because I didn't have a whole lot of time to think through everything and what the menu was going to be. It's worked out really well long term, I think, for us because I get bored. And our customers get bored too. We have a lot of people that are here at least once a week. And if you can work your way through a menu and then the next month you can work your way through another one, gives people variety and options. It also is really nice for us because of all the catering that we do. It allows us to manage our food costs a little bit more. If we've got a catering that's carrying a specific product, then maybe that makes its way to the restaurant menu too, or vice versa.
You have known me long enough and have listened to the show long enough to know how picky I am when it comes to food. The thing that I love about your menu is just what you said. While it changes every month, there are some things that almost always stay on. So it's great for 10 minutes because I am that person that once I go somewhere for dinner and I find a thing that I like, that's what I order. I don't need to try anything else. I know I like it. I'm hungry. This is what I want. Tim, however, wants something different every time he goes to dinner anywhere. So your menu is perfect for people like us because I can come and have the roasted chicken and he can come and have whatever else is on the menu and we both leave happy.
Yeah, and there's things that as time has evolved, we've decided are going to stay on the menu. We'll always have a burger. We'll always have wings on the menu. We introduced a steak this month, and I think after last week, it's probably going to be on the menu long term.
Ah.
And then with our wings, so the wings will always be there, and we'll always have a traditional buffalo sauce. But then some of the other sauces we're going to play with, and it gives me the creative outlet to do some different stuff.
The other thing I wanted to point out with that, especially when you're dealing with different age groups, you're hopefully tapping that customer, especially the young people. Very finicky, everything's very fast, very quick. The hot topic or hot food is for this long. Oh, wait a sec, somebody just came with a new one. And so that's the next hot topic. And so you're basically catering to that group that they could come and have a different experience every time and don't even realize that they think this is just a traditional place, but it's not.
No, and like Bill said, the warm, homey feeling is something that we've really aimed for. I also want it to feel like you're coming over to my house for dinner. Like, I'm not going to make you the same thing every time you come over. Sorry, Janet.
And that's the other cool thing too, and it's not just because I know you guys. Like when we were here the last time, Bill came over, he sat down, he had a cup of coffee with us, we were chatting as we were having our dinner, but you're in and around, you're stopping and talking to everybody. It's not because you and I have a relationship. You try to do that with everybody that's here, so when they leave, they feel like they know you the next time they come back in.
Yeah, you're a guest. We're a small business. We're selling ourselves. That's the product. The product is the care, the effort. It's what's missing. It's the only reason that we're still here. It's what works.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Everybody's lost connection. They may be a great chef, great cook, and that's all they want to do, and they don't intermingle with the people, and the people feel like the food's great, but I'm not going to come back because I just don't feel there's a relationship. 9 times out of 10, people come back for the relationship versus coming back for the food.
We've built some really great relationships with some of our regular customers too, like the salt and pepper shakers that I took off of this table. They are from the folks that live across the street that come in here for at least one meal every week, and they belong to his grandmother, and they saw all of our different salt and pepper shakers and were like, we want these to be here.
That is awesome. And you did that with the coffee cups. That was right out of the gate. I have my own mug. You want people to be able to come in. It's your version of Norm at Cheers. You want people to come in and walk over and get the mug, come and sit down, and then whoever knows, bring her coffee because she's got her mug sitting there in front of her.
It's a community hub. That's what this place is supposed to be. It's what it should be. Log into any Middletown website. The first thing you see is a giant inn on the cover of everything. And it's been kind of bereft of a heartbeat for a long time. Somebody that has deep roots and a lot of history in this building gave us a compliment that meant the world to me. He literally shook my hand and said, "It's back. Nice job, it's back."
Wow.
You guys are doing it.
And that's a big deal given how not back it was for so long and so many iterations.
It just needed love. Everyone was trying to drive with their wallet.
You hit on a great point. Everybody typically is coming into it, especially restaurants, everybody thinks they can make money by
Good luck.
cutting, like you talk about the bag of onions frozen versus getting it raw and taking that time to prep it and everything else. A lot of people don't weigh that factor in, and that cost breakdown is so huge, but yet you're keeping your prices reasonable that people can still enjoy that real quality food versus in reality, any place else they'd be getting the frozen bag of onions.
Yeah, we're making a quantity bet. So we're just starting up, we're new. What we're doing works if we can move the volume up just a little bit. And we're frankly banking on spring, opening up our patio and opening up this space and having some more events here that make the numbers work. But what we're not gonna do is sacrifice quality product and keep it cheap until we get busy, and then we'll spend more. That just never works, right? We're in the human business. It's a business, it does numbers. There's P&L and expenses everywhere in this business, but you gotta remember it's a people business.
You've also been very good at being cognizant of what you're good at. You've got a baker who does your desserts. That wasn't something you were necessarily interested in taking on the regular.
I don't measure anything.
So you recognized that and found a partner to be able to create some of the most amazing desserts that you have on the menu. That carrot cake was to die for.
And the gingerbread.
Yes, the gingerbread was even better.
Coconut.
I don't do coconut. But Tim would love the coconut. See, again, we're like opposites, but whatever. Tim would love the coconut. I'm not a coconut fan. You give me chocolate, gingerbread, anything with cream cheese icing, I am all in all the way.
We got really lucky, and the really funny thing about that is, much like I am in no way, shape, form a chef, I just enjoy cooking. Our baker was one of our very best friends who was baking pies for a farmer's market and was enjoying it, but was ready for something a little bit more challenging. And yeah, she's done a fantastic job, and she's enjoying playing back there too.
I was curious, because this is our 250th anniversary. Has anybody from like economic development or anything, because of the historical significance of this building age-wise, come and talked about the 250th and trying to create a
special
bandwagon
menu or some sort of thing?
And then enticement into the surrounding region, advertising to come here and celebrate 250th because it's the 250th location. And
there was one person that rolled through, had an enjoyable dining experience, came in for lunch on a Saturday, and worked with the state economic oversight something. Forgive me for lack of details. We work a lot. And she had mentioned something about, this is really cool, we'll make a recommendation for this inn. I've been meaning to come out here. She really had a good time. That's as far as I've got.
Okay, because typically the economic development person from the different localities are trying to identify, and they had funds available to assist those entities to help them prep for the 250. And because so many people are going to be coming to Virginia for the 250th from different directions, and I just look at this location as just the historical significance of it, and also because you really got a well inside that, and I think that's pretty cool. Just using that as even an enticement. A lot of people don't know that on the outside. It's not until you come inside and see it. And I think that local economic development, working with the state, could really showcase the Middletown area for the 250th, because everybody is locked on the Civil War for this region.
Yeah.
But they're not locked on the fact that this inn is basically right at the time of our history.
It is pre-Civil War, yeah.
But nobody talks about it. And so with the 250th, this is really a significant thing. Saying, yes, you may think about the Civil War. Middletown was here long before that with this locality. And that space you have over there where they have the historical.
The original kitchen.
Yeah, that is unbelievable. And that's a big historical significance that should be highlighted and showcased for the 250th. And I think that's something that discussions with the local economic development, bringing them out and saying, look, here's a small piece of this region. You talk about the Civil War all the time, but yet this is really your bread and butter.
Right.
You know,
within 1 square mile radius here, we cover
Right?
a lot of that
Yes.
ground.
Yeah, I think that's something that's potentially missing that could bring more foot traffic in for that 250 to really build your brand.
It's definitely something to look into.
Yeah. If you don't get help from them, let me know, because it's not only the state's 250th, but there's also the federal 250. So there's two different tracks running right now. And because we have Shenandoah National Park and all these different things that are connected, I'm shocked they're not playing the tagline with it. That's just me.
We're going to fix that. What was your official opening date?
September 19th.
And then a week later, it was breakfast, and a week later, it was dinner. We're sitting here mid-ish February. What are you hoping come spring? Are there more things that you want to do? Are you just going to continue to incrementally add things to the mix? Where are you hoping that by next February you're at?
I think our plan right now is to just continue to unfold it. So we're starting live music on Friday nights. We need to fill the calendar. We're going to do the first one, see how it works. And if it goes well, we're going to start booking dates out for the rest of the year. We've got a patio getting ready to open up, which essentially adds another 40% seating capacity to where we're already at. So we got a plan for that. We have an amazing outdoor space. So things like events, places you can bring your dogs and kids and run around. There's 4 acres here. And the one thing that we are in full attack mode on is trying to get a farmer's market here in the summertime.
I am all in for that as well. We will do a show here every week if we have to when that happens.
I might
That
only do
you
that.
could work with USDA and they could give you funds to set up that farmer's market.
Oh, there's one floating around. We don't want to start our own. We would love to be the host. for a
Yes.
local farmer's market. No charge.
Make
Just
this
the
your
host.
home.
That's it. That's
Well,
it.
it makes so much sense on so many levels. You've got the parking, you've got the space. It just checks all of the boxes.
And we have covered space too, so if it were
Yes.
to be raining, we've got the pavilion back there that's got the tobacco barn. I think that's the other thing, kind of in forward-facing plans. We really want to be able to utilize that outdoor space for events. We have in the past done a lot of stuff with the local nonprofits, so
Hosting
host your event
galas
here.
or
Yeah.
evening events and doing weddings, maybe even at some point.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've done weddings here outside already.
Oh.
Yeah.
Food truck parties.
You mentioned a second ago the fact that you have so much space here that you can bring the kids to run around. You have a kids menu. I want to
We
make
do.
sure we touch on that because you've got a really cool part of that kids menu that you hinted at during our first conversation, but now is a full-on table-side event in and of itself.
It is. So it was super cute. I can't find the right cart. We want to have a cart that looks like a cow that we can bring out. I have that
course.
component, but this cart. And I even went down the road of trying to task one of my buddy's children, and we still can't get it to work. But it's tableside chocolate milk, right? So the old Hershey's bottles, turn it
Yeah.
upside down, say when. It's just something cute that gives little kids a way to interact with their food, and they feel special at the table. They're recognized. They're not in the corner. They're not on a screen. It's fun. And we want to be a place where kids can come eat and have a good time. Because then the parents generally have a good time.
And you have kids-specific food on the menu as well. Like, I don't have to share my egg rolls with a 7-year-old.
But our favorite 7-year-olds order from the grown-ups menu. We had a chef friend of ours in the other night, and all his kids were eating like pork belly. And, these are little kids. It's the
One of them
coolest
was
thing.
in a high chair and
Yeah.
is like reaching for raw tuna.
Yeah.
That is
Love-
crazy.
Yeah.
Those kids score points. We do judge.
Yeah.
And so before we wrap up, let's finish talking about the menu a little bit. So you have different sections. So you have the starters, you have the handhelds, you have the entrees. We're in February right now. What is on the menu? What are some things that you want to highlight?
So we have mussels and fries in a beer broth. We have a New York strip steak. We have a vegetarian meatloaf made out of lentils.
What?
Better than you think.
Growing up, my stepfather is vegetarian, and not a lot of the food was things that I enjoyed. This was actually something that I remember eating as a child and enjoying.
Oh.
And we have definitely found that our ability to have menu offerings for vegetarians and also have gluten-free
Right.
friendly options has really made us more accessible to a lot of people. So we try to keep at least one vegetarian entree on the menu at all times. We've got a tuna poke bowl on right now, and we've got corn dogs on right now that are really fun.
Wait, what? See, that's what you were talking about. It's just the coolest, fun stuff.
She forgot the broccoli cheddar bites.
Oh, and the broccoli cheddar
We
bites.
make, we're really good at making cheese sauces here. We make an excellent cheese sauce, and we found a way to take the cheese sauce and mix it with broccoli to come up with the broccoli bites. There's a restaurant down the road whose broccoli bites I get every Sunday. We wanted to see if we can make our own. I know they're not making them from scratch. Fair point, tough to make, but it was fun. So that's our fun play on the menu.
So all this work that you're doing, creations, experiments, so
Uh-oh.
you're taking advantage of the...
He's gonna say research,
that's
tax development.
Your research and development tax credit. Because when you were talking about the different things, you said, I don't measure anything. So every time it's going to be different.
But we use fresh food, and every time it's going to be different. Bill will ask me for like exactly how much of something put in. I'm like, depending on the onion, it might taste different. So
That's true.
That's true. I totally agree with that. I think that's the same thing when we were talking about Route 11 potato chips. they come up the coast. The potatoes have a different flavor depending on where they come
They
from.
might have a
and
different flavor, they might have a different moisture content,
Yeah.
so they'll fry differently. I know there's some value to the science and the specifics of it, but I also try not to be completely tied into that because it's not always going to be true.
No, but that's what the R&D aspect, because you're going to adjust based on what's
Yeah.
coming through, and depending on that season, you may say, I'm not going to do this product right now just because moisture content.
Right.
If we're not going to get the product we're going to get. And those are lessons learned. Because you're doing so much differentiation, so that's dollars that you're
Yeah.
spending that should be recovered.
He's making notes.
I sure am.
So that leads me to ask you this. Have you considered, because you are really good at sauces and some of these things that can be packaged or bottled and then sold. When you said Red 11, that was one of the things we talked to Sarah about is dips make perfect sense for her to take some of the recipes that she's using for the chips and turn them into a dip that she can then sell. Have you thought about that long term?
We thought about it. We've had customers ask for them. We can make them. We've done pickups for them. We do them with soups.
Soups is another perfect
I
one.
really want to put that coconut cake that Trisha makes in a box and have a little bakery-ish kind of section here. She's incredibly talented.
Pickles
So, yeah.
also. I know you're
Yeah.
a pickle guy.
Yeah, oh,
We make,
definitely.
we make all sorts of pickled things. So I think one of the
I'm
kind
bringing
of
my
our
daughter then.
long-term dreamy things for us is we would love to have a little shop set up here where you could buy canned food items, sauces, dips, all of that kind of stuff. Trisha cake.
This lends itself, and Carl, we've talked about this before because I know you're from PA, but my husband Tim and I used to take trips with my parents years ago. Every 4th of July weekend, we would take a long weekend and we'd go to Amish country. We'd go to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And this reminds me of a lot of the restaurants there where you walk in to have dinner or breakfast or lunch or whatever, but they have that little shop where I can then buy the apple butter that I had on my biscuit just an hour earlier. I think this whole thing lends itself so much more to being able to do that sort of stuff.
It does. It definitely does, and it's something we're working towards. But step one, you got to get the restaurant right.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I think the one leverage tool that's not being highlighted enough is the historical significance of this locality. And this year just fits in perfect with it to really buzzsaw it out there. So everybody starts really identifying Middletown for what it has, because everybody thinks everything's over on Jamestown side. And it's like, wait a sec, they had to travel. Mm-hmm. I was totally just awestruck when I saw what the original kitchen looked like in there. And I just said, oh my God. And I
Right.
said, they're not even marketing this.
Super impressive, slightly creepy.
Right?
But that's what they like. And you got that well there. You could sit here and really have some good stories made up.
So what are the hours? When can people come and enjoy a meal?
We're open Thursday and Friday from 8 a.m. till 11 a.m. We're open for dinner on Thursday and Friday from 4 to 8:30. Saturday we're open from 8 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. And Sunday we're open from 8 to 1 for brunch.
And brunch is quite popular.
Brunch has been quite popular. So our breakfast menu is pretty static. It stays the same. We've got some preparations that rotate in and out. Our brunch menu, which is 4 or 5 additional items on top of our breakfast menu, it changes on a pretty regular basis as well.
And where can people find the menu, see what might be culinary delights from the bakery perspective? Where can they go find all that stuff?
Website and social media. Primarily use Facebook, and the website is Clem's at the Wayside, not the symbol, the word AT. We do a pretty good job of making sure our events are up there. We've got a lot going on. Look for live music scheduled down the road. We'll post everything to the website and the Facebook. We've got a wine dinner coming up on the 25th, so it'll be our first wine dinner here. We've got to save the date out. We're working through menu details, and we'll have that posted before the end of the weekend. So we're really excited to just kind of be doing more events here and just being more of a destination.
We have an Italian winemaker that's going to be...
Get out. Where I am very picky about food, I'll drink most anything. I'll drink most anything at all. So that's appealing to me. Well, thank you for I sent you a text just hours ago and said, hey, can Carl and I come crash record at your place? And not only did you say yes, but then you sat down and talked to me too. So I appreciate that more than anything.
Well, thank you for coming in. And space is available anytime you need it.
I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Valley Today, a few minutes after noon. So meet me here then.